Good evening and welcome to the Arundel Camera Club virtual live stream for Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. My name is John Milliker. I'm the club president for the 2021-2022 season. The Arundel Camera Club was founded in 1957 and exists to promote the arts, science, and education in all aspects and fields of photography. For more information about us, please visit www.arundelcameraclub.org. Thank you for joining our virtual live stream. For the time being, the Arundel Camera Club has made the decision to stay virtual only until a time when the majority of our club members and officers feel safe enough to make it in person. We will continue to monitor the COVID situation and make choices with the help of all members on when we can finally get back together. And before tonight's contest, here's our upcoming schedule. Of course, tonight's stream is our photography contest with the theme of Digital Open. And then next week, September 30th, is a program with Les Picker on the story behind the image. Then on October 7th is a critique session with our contest chair, Ron. And Ron, who is our critiquer for that?
That would be Greg Holden from Colorado.
Greg Holden. That's going to be a really great show. And then on October 14th, we have a program with Chris Spielman. And I want to make sure that everybody knows about October 20th. That is our Wednesday Brian Baru Irish restaurant fundraiser. And they're located in Severna Park. We're going to send out a menu pretty shortly out here. And they're going to get started earlier than normal and go until about 8:30. And what you can do is you can sit down and eat, first come, first serve, or if you're not comfortable, you can order and get takeout. And what they will do is a 3-course meal for $25, and they very generously donate $10 back to the club for each meal purchased off that special menu. And then that next night, October 21st, that's that Thursday, of course, is our contest on digital with the theme of reflections. And with that done, I want to introduce our contest chair, Ron Pfeiffer, to introduce our judge and get us started.
Okay, well, we're going to try to make the preliminaries short this evening so that you'll have plenty of time for our judge to go through and she's going to do most of the talking this evening. So a couple of things, however, up front that I wanted to talk about. First of all, we have the American Photography Alliance photo contest deadline is approaching next week. I sent you notices on that within the last day or two again. We have 4 really interesting categories, lots of great prizes associated. We've got a couple $1,000 worth of prizes associated with that, so make sure you get your contest in. I've so far seen that 8 of our members, as of yesterday, have applied, so we really need to get a lot more Arundel Camera Club folks in there. It's real easy this year because we've changed the interface so that when you go to register, you can drop your images in and it's done lickety split. If you want to check your feed for MPA and for the Arundel Camera Club Facebook feeds, take it right to the registration page for that. I also sent out a reminder this morning that includes the access club that you're going to need to enter your photos. So make sure you for that. We have a whole new web tool again to make that registration really easy. If you have any trouble accessing it, email me or call me and let me know. So let's get on to the contest. This evening's theme is open, of course. You're going to see a wide variety of photos in the contest, wide variety of topics. There are, I believe, 27 novice images competing for prizes 1 through 4, and then 3 honorable mentions. Correct, John? Correct.
Ron, I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you, bud. Do you have anything running in the background?
No, I don't.
I'm hearing something. I'm gonna try muting Cynthia there for a second, and see if that. Yeah, Cynthia, that's you. Do you have anything running in the background? She's saying no. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Cynthia.
Okay.
Yeah, for some reason, Cynthia, there's a really loud mechanical noise.
The air conditioning's not on. There's nothing on.
Oh, you just changed something.
I moved the microphone.
Something just changed. You might have had some feedback from your speakers.
Is it better or
worse?
Worse?
It is perfect. Everything is fixed now.
That was easy. Okay.
Ron, I think we have it fixed. Can you repeat?
Okay.
I hate to make you repeat this, but your audio kept getting worse and worse and worse. And we got a lot of people saying they had a hard time hearing you. Can you
All right.
repeat the MPA contest information that you just talked about?
Yeah, the key thing is check your email today because the deadline for that is around the end of the month, beginning of October. So we will need to make sure that you get the access code to do the MPA contest. That's in your email. If you check your email this morning, I dropped it in there. And if you need it again, let me know. I'll drop it in again. And now I'd like to move on to the contest. And if you have any other questions, drop them in the feed and John in the chat. And John will let me know about that. This evening's theme is open. So you'll see a good variety of photos in the contest. Again, there are 27 novices. There are prizes 1 through 4th place and 3 honorable mentions. Now, I'd like to welcome our judge this evening. That's Cynthia Keith. She's a Washingtonian who's a member of the North Bethesda Camera Club since 1992, a really well-recommended certified MPA judge who we have seen here before in the club. John reminds me that she was one of our end-of-year judges in 2020. Is that right, Cynthia?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Her specialty is garden landscape photography, which ranges from grand landscape images to intimate flower portraits. She has traveled from Alaska to Maine in search of landscape images, produces some just gorgeous photos on her own. She has a diverse interest and talents. You know, she has an MA in music, an MA, a BA in music, and an MBA from University of Maryland. She also has a CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst designation, and the past president of the Washington Association of Money Managers for the CFA Institute in Washington. So, Cynthia, welcome again to our competition this evening. Appreciate your being part of our group.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again and to be able to be the first judge of the year for your competitions. I'm thrilled that it's an open night. You know, that's always when you get to see the best of the best in the club. It is also a very difficult night for the judge because everything is so good. So just to let you know that I know what you're thinking. I know the only person who's going to be happy at the end of the night is whoever got first. But I hope that as we go through all of this, that you will be inspired by the work of your fellow club members. And at the end of the evening, we will have had hopefully an educational time, some tips perhaps that we can learn from one another in these images. And maybe you'll be encouraged to go visit a site you've never seen before, or to try a technique that you might see tonight to try it on your own. When I look at images, typically I'm looking for 4 things. The first would be what I call the craftsmanship. That's the technical aspects of the image, focus, exposure, you get the picture. The second would be composition. The third would be communication. That is, did the photographer try to evoke a mood or a feeling or a moment in the viewer, and were they successful at that? And then finally, creativity. Have they looked at something perhaps that's common, but looked at it in an unusual way, or tried a technique that we haven't seen before, etc. So I also know that in a competition like this, when just about every one of the images could certainly be a first place, that as we do our ins and outs, I will make comments. And some of the images that you think are absolutely perfect, and probably are, may end up being out simply because we have so many strong images tonight, and we do have to, whittle them down somehow. So that being said, I guess we're all set.
Okay. Well, great. Well, now, Cynthia, we also have a number of people watching this evening and participating that really haven't been part of our contest, particularly in the novice group. So I want to explain a little bit about for them the procedure. Our process this evening starts with an overview round of the images in the novice competition, followed by the first decision round, the ins and out decisions first. And then when she gets down to a manageable number of images, Cynthia will do the placements. Okay, John, I think maybe we're in a position to get started. And if you'll just bear with me 1 second, I need to get, okay. We're going to do the overview round. John, you all ready with those?
I do, and Ron, let me just let everybody know that you usually have me always talking about the images, but we're trying to get Ron's fantastic voice in here to kind of fill in for me a little bit and give me a little bit of a break so I can go over and play in chat. So Ron's going to list them out and try to work as much as I can, as much as he can, and I'm just going to follow along with the stream. When you're ready, Ron.
Okay. Image number 1, a dad is a teacher. Image number 2, morning glory. Image 3, northern hawk owl. Image 4, ginger flower. Number 5, underground embrace. Number 6, lunch. Number 7, Brooklyn Botanical Garden. Eight, top hat. Nine, sandwiches, steaks, soups. 10, osprey. 11, Yellowstone 1. 12, Yellowstone 3. 13, reaching for the sun. 14, fluffy blue. 15, morning silhouette. 16, on the rocks. 17, fox. 18, sand patterns. 19, Yellowstone 2. Number 20, light show whimsy. Number 21, leaf pattern. '23, it started here. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry, 22, Upper Yosemite Falls. I'm sorry. Number 23, it started here. '24, walking on water. '25, osprey with fish. '26, friendship fading. And our last image for novice, 27, perfect peony. Okay, Cynthia.
Ron, can I butt in real quick?
Yes, sir.
Debbie's got a quick question, and while we're still between everything, I know we usually don't take questions about the images, but Debbie is asking that she is new to the club and is asking while we set everything back up. Can you tell her about where she's going to start and kind of how the novice and unlimited work while we reset everything?
Okay, well, the novice participants in the club are people who have fewer than 50 lifetime points. You get points for your wins in the contest. Once you hit 50, then you're moved up to the unlimited category. So that's pretty much the way it's set. And then we give 8 points, I think it is, for a first place, 6 for a second, um, and so on, down 2 points until we get to honorable mentions, which get 1 point each. Images, typically you can bring it back 2 more times after you've used them and submitted them once in a contest.
Thank you, Ron. I thought it was a good time to squeeze that in there for any new members we have watching.
Okay, now Cynthia, this is your decision round. Again, for the new members, Cynthia will provide some feedback to the reporters, photographers, about each photo with some thoughts about the features as she described earlier, what she would comment. Now I'm going to shut up from here on out, and Cynthia, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. I mentioned the photographer capturing a moment. This is a nice moment of the father and the son together. I think the fact that they're looking together in the same direction is very moving, and you can see their faces well. I think there are a few things in the image that could make it a little stronger. It would be nice to see a little bit more of the fishing poles. I think that's what they're holding, so that we get a better feel for what activity they're doing together. I think a couple of things in the image detract from the father and the son, and most particularly the bright spots in the background, the cars, and the red intensive colors of the cars and the signpost over there. You know, when our human eye looks at something, we're naturally drawn to the brightest part of the image or the most saturated part. So we have a conflict here between wanting to look at the subjects here in the foreground, but our eyes drift to the background. So there's some things you can do to improve that by toning down the bright cars in the background and desaturating the red a bit, which will focus us on the father and son. And also, you can't see it so much on this feed, but the father and the son have just a little bit of a red tint to their skin, and that can be fixed easily in Lightroom. This will be out.
Okay. All right, John, that's out.
Number 1 is out. Number 2.
This is an intriguing image because of the patterns that we see here. So it takes you a moment to figure out what in the world is this. And then when you do, you're like, these are bones. But I think that what makes this image so attractive is the coloring from the light source. You don't see the light source, but it is giving it this warm yellow glow, which brings the dead bones a little bit more alive. And then the randomness of the way the bones are arranged, which makes it more of an abstract image. So it's a very interesting abstract. Abstracts make you want to think and to look at it and figure it out. And so this succeeds at that. This will be in.
Number 2 is in.
Okay. Number 2 is in.
Number 3.
This is a great capture of the owl looking at the photographer. How hard that is to get a bird in flight to look straight at you. And this is very well done. And if you look at it up close, you can see that his face and eyes are sharp. And the photographer did a good job of choosing the proper shutter speed in this to capture him in motion like that. And with the spread of the wings, one up and one down, gives a real sense of movement. As I mentioned in the previous one, our eyes tend to be drawn to the brightest part of the image. And so in this, obviously, we have snow on the trees in the background, which kind of conflict with him. One thing we can do to minimize some of that would be to crop this down very tightly on the owl himself, so that we lose some of the snow in the background that is drawing our eye out of the image. This will be out.
Okay.
Number 3 is out. Number 4.
This is an interesting treatment of this group of flowers. You'll notice the photographer has chosen to darken the upper half of the image, and the treatment of the flowers makes them very neon looking, which is an interesting way to get us to focus on the most saturated area, like I was mentioning. I think you probably, if you were going to simplify this even further, could darken the flower on the lower right so much, or make it go away if you're good at that kind of cloning or darkening in Photoshop or Lightroom, so that we look focused just on the flowers in the middle. I think maybe a little more care in how you darken around the top of those two center flowers so that we can see the edges of the petals of those flowers as brightly as we do the middle. This will be out.
Okay, number 4 is out.
Confirm. Number 5.
This is a very well crafted image. If you think about the techniques, we can see detail in the darkest areas, like under the front of the train. And yet the brightest areas, the lights in the background, the light on the train, are not blown out. We've got a little starburst going along with the headlight on the train. But in a black and white image where you've got a good tonal range of black blacks to white whites, this image is an excellent example of that. And then you've caught the moment of the train being there and the couple in the background, and they're not in a clinch so much as they are looking at or in the direction of the photographer, so you can see both of their faces. And then the sign above them, instead of detracting, it actually gives you a feel for where it was taken. So this is a very excellently crafted image. This will be in.
Okay, number 5 is in.
Confirm 5 in. Number 6.
Another good image of a flying bird. Again, you'll notice the face and the eye are tack sharp. You've got good light on the feet holding the fish, which is the subject here of why he's flying away and the title of the image itself. And notice you've got a little light on his body. My comment here would be very similar to the other one, is that these beautiful golden leaves in the background are drawing my eye away from the bird and his fish. Because they're more saturated, they're brighter, etc. Here's another one where you could crop into it a lot more. And then also maybe in Lightroom or Photoshop, adding a little light under the bottom of his wings so we can see some of the detail in the feathers there. Not too much so that it looks artificial, but just a little bit to give us a little more texture in there. This will be out.
Okay, number 6 is out.
Confirm 6 out. Number 7.
This also has been well crafted. Notice this is a white flower, but there's nothing that is blown out in this. And you can actually see some detail in each of the petals, and that's hard to do on a white subject, as you know. I think this is a good first image. I hope that obviously on this beautiful subject, you took lots of different angles and shots of the flower. In the old days, when we were shooting film, we were reminded frequently to bracket our exposures. Well, the same holds true for our compositions, is to bracket our compositions. So we walk up to a scene or a flower and we say, gosh, that's wonderful. And we take the first shot and we nail it. Then the next thing is to say, well, I wonder what it would look like if I stood to the left or to the right or got higher or got lower, and take a whole series of images, work it, in other words, and see what kind of different compositions you can come up with. For this image, I would suggest, again, cropping it in tighter, or the upper parts above the flower in the background are bright and they're drawing our eye away from the flower. So darken those down as much as the surrounding areas so that all we focus on is the beautiful flower. This will be out.
Okay, number 7 is out.
Confirm 7 out. Number 8.
You know, this was a very good idea by the photographer, of the top hat and the vest. Notice it's sharp. You can see the texture in the blanket or whatever there. But there's some things in the image itself that are drawing us away from this beautiful idea. The curtain or drapery on the left with that very hard black line, and then on the right also Rather than framing the image, they pull our eye out and we want to look at them. They're more detailed, they're different shades. And then the brighter white area in the upper right. So again, I hope you use this opportunity to take different shots of this setup, and maybe if you own these things, you can work it some more to focus us on the hat and the vest, which really are the subject of the image. This will be out.
Okay. Image 8 is out.
Confirm 8 out. Number 9.
This is an interesting way to look at this scene where we're looking in a reflection of a reflection, as it seems. And the photographer titled it by the names of the words in the windows. Ordinarily, and rules are meant to be broken, ordinarily you would say, well, you don't put signs in the image if you think it'll pull your eye away from the subject. So is the subject the sign or the boy on the bike? Good question. In this case, because the reflection of the reflections makes the words less noticeable, it really doesn't draw our eye too much. The one thing that does catch our eye are the different colors. So you see the yellow sign on the far left, which unfortunately, because it's so close to the edge, kind of pulls us away from the boy. And then the reflection of the road closure sign, which is orange, and the words are a little more predominant, then it also pulls our eye away from the boy. So the boy is kind of the last thing we see. He's darker than those things. He's not saturated. So I think there are some conflicting things in this image. The idea was good, and hopefully it's a place you can go back and try it again. This will be out.
Okay. Number 9 is out.
9 is out. Number 10.
Another lovely portrait of a bird, this time sitting, but again, staring right at the photographer. Great intensity in this image that you can see in the eyes. Everything is sharp. He's poised and looking a little menacing. The only thing I would say about this, and I like the neutral background that the photographer used here. Perhaps try a little experimentation with a slightly darker background and see if that makes the bird stand out even more, especially his face and everything against the background. But otherwise, this is very well done. This will be in.
Okay. Image 10 is in.
10 is in. Number 11.
A good capture of our furry friend here. Notice how sharp he is. Every whisker, every piece of his fur on his belly, very sharp. But also interesting what the photographer has done here. Look at the treatment of the background. So it's blurred, but it wasn't done purely with the choice of aperture. Rather, some technique has been used to kind of paint over it, shall I say, that blurs out the background so that the detail in the background doesn't draw us away from the squirrel himself. The only thing I would say is, again, the background is a lot brighter than he is. So while you're working with your different techniques, darkening down that background would keep us focused on him. This will be out.
Okay. Number 11 is out.
11 out. Number 12.
I think you should submit this to the Tourist Bureau. It's certainly something that gives you a feeling that, gee, I wish I was there, or I wish I'd been there at the same time you were. Notice the blue sky with the puffy clouds, so you can't dial them up half the time when you want them. That the contrast has been well handled in the image. The clouds are not blown out and the shadows have some detail in them. Notice they didn't take the image head on to the gate, but you are looking through it. It draws you into the image and to the building in the background. So from a compositional standpoint, that's been well done. You may want to consider cropping off some of the right-hand side, which doesn't add to the focus point. And in fact, the extra buildings back there may draw us away from that focus point. This will be out.
Okay. Image 12 is out.
12 is out. Number 13.
I'm sure that the photographer was drawn to this with the vibrance of the red small leaves echoed in the larger back leaves. I think that was well seen by the photographer. Notice that the smaller leaves and closer to the lens are sharper. Everything because of the choice of f-stop here. As we recede, it becomes more blurred, which was a good choice by the photographer. I think this is another one where I hope that you took multiple images of this interesting scene and different compositions of it. I think a few detractors would be where the red leaf at the top touches the edge and the yellow on the left. Again, in general, it's okay to cut off some of it. You just don't want it to look like an accident. So you either should include more of it or chop out more of it, one or the other, so that it doesn't pull us away and say, oh gosh, they missed. That's not what you want the viewer to say. So I think in general, you could crop it in on both sides, maybe converting it into a vertical. Try that and see if you like the image better. This will be out.
Okay, number 13 is out.
Confirm 13 out. Number 14.
An excellent portrait of this blue heron on his perch here. Again, a good choice of f-stop by the photographer that blurs out the background where we don't need to see what's back there. The focus is on the bird, and he's well placed in the frame. We've got detail in the bird and the log that he's standing on. The light is very even and pleasant. It's nicely done. This will be in.
Okay. Number 14 is in.
14 in. Number 15.
A good capture of a moment of the horses all lined up. Notice that the photographer did a good job of waiting until they were each separated by some space so that we can see each of the individuals clearly, and a good capture of a sunrise. Be careful with your horizon to make sure that it's straight. It may be leaning just a hair. You can check that easily in Photoshop or Lightroom with a grid. The only thing detractor to this silhouette, I would say, is that the horses aren't totally sharp. And that may be a resolution or a noise issue, but I wish they were a little sharper. This will be out.
Okay, number 15 is out.
15 out. Number 16.
Another good portrait, this time with the light coming from behind the photographer, but notice that the bird is not in shadow. And kudos to the photographer to wait until the bird turned its head to look at you. How many times have we shot a bird and we just can't get him to look at us, and we get the back of his head all the time? But this is very nicely done with nice light on him and on the rocks. And again, the water blurred out. I think the only thing I would suggest is you could probably tone down the rocks that are in the front a little bit, again, so they don't detract from looking at the bird. And you may want to crop some off of the right that we don't see the stuff in the water on the right-hand side. That side of the image isn't adding anything. You could probably crop that out and it would still be very pleasing. This will be in.
Okay, number 16 is in.
16 in. 17.
Well, this is an outstanding portrait. Notice the even light on the subject but you can still see detail. It is finely detailed throughout. You can almost feel the fuzz of the fur of the fox. The eyes are looking at you. There's a little catch light in both eyes. And I mentioned in black and white photography, you like to see a broad range of tones. And we have whites here, and we have blacks, and everything in between. It's a very, very pleasing composition and a wonderful capture. This will be in.
Okay, number 17 is in.
17's in. 18.
An interesting abstract here, and kudos to the photographers for seeing this pattern in the sand. It makes you think. And as I mentioned, for an abstract, it makes you want to, if it was hanging on the wall in a gallery, you want to walk up to it and examine it a little closer to make sure you think you know what you're seeing there, and then to explore all the different patterns that are in it and the colors, etc. It's very, very intriguing and a good job of capturing an interesting subject. This will be in.
Okay, number 18 is in.
18's in. 19.
Another excellent one for the Tourist Bureau. What more would anybody want than to go and find a nice stream where you could go fishing on a blue sky, puffy cloud day? Again, notice the exposure has been handled very well, and the quality of the light, even though it looks like it might be not first light because we have areas lit across the scene, but it's still warm. With some of the warmth being reflected in the water as well. And the fishermen out there, the photographer did a good job of timing the exposure so that you can see the man's arm extended with the fishing rod in it. So a good capture. This will be in.
Okay, number 19 is in.
19's in. Number 20.
It's fun when they do these abstracts where you also know what it is, and then you think, how could that be? So a good capture of one of the shows that they had there, I think this was at the National Cathedral, but it's the combination of the very hard, straight, structured pillars of the cathedral, contrasted to the lights and the color of the light, and then the baubles suspended around. So again, like an abstract, you think you know what it is, and then you think, well, how did that happen? And it makes the viewer think, and that's an excellent thing to do. This will be in.
Okay, number 20 is in.
20 is in. 21.
Another good idea for a abstract of the leaf and the quasi shadow of it with the textured background and the colors in the leaf. That's very well conceived. Again, the only thing I would say about this is the bright area in the right. Even though it's interesting on its own right, it draws us away from the subject matter. So you could try this a number of ways. You could try cropping out the bottom, or just maybe cloning some of that background over that area in the right-hand corner so that we don't see it. And perhaps you might like it better that way. This will be out.
Okay, number 21 is out.
21 is out. 22.
A good capture of the Upper Yosemite Falls in light that is even on the rocks. You can see that depending on the time of day, some of this could be in very deep shadow. But here we have light on the topmost part, which makes your eye say, oh, look, there's the precipice. And then you follow the water down with the light in the middle there, and then again at the bottom, which draws you down to the bottom of the falls. And notice it's been cropped so that all we see are the falls. It gives a feeling of height to the image. So that was well done. This will be out.
Okay, number 22 is out.
22 out. 23.
This is an intriguing image. It's an abstract of sorts. I mean, you can tell what the subjects are, and you can tell where they are. But I think what makes it is the repetition of the ends of the cannons and the repetition of the arches going back, and the color of the red stands that the cannons are on, again, one right after another. And it's clear enough that you can see that there are multiple cannons going back into the distance. So it's very intriguing. And notice the difference in lighting. You've got blue light here in the front with more yellow light in the back as the sun hit the interior of the building. This will be in.
Okay, number 23 is in.
23 is in. Number 24.
This is a good thought by the photographer, showing the bird in its environment. The grasses and everything are soft, and giving kind of that painterly feel to it. The bird is in motion. The only thing I would say about this is I wish that the bird was sharp, so that we could see him better. And it's also difficult because he's darker than the water. So it's hard with him not being sharp and not being the brightest thing in the image to really focus on the bird. This will be out.
Okay, number 24 is out.
24 is out. 25.
A good capture of a moment here as this guy is having his lunch as well. And an interesting angle. We don't usually look up on the bird having his lunch, but you can certainly see he's sharp. You can see his eye. You know what he's doing. I think the problem with this image is the background is very detracting. All the sticks draw us away, and especially the bright stick in the upper right. Some of those you could probably clone out, like the stick on the bottom, that might help us focus on the bird. It's just a difficult thing to do with the background. This will be out.
Okay, number 25 is out.
25's out. 26.
It's rare that we take pictures of flowers that are past their peak, but they can be very evocative, those images, of a mood or trying to make a statement. I think this is the photographer's attempt to do that with the flowers on either side past their prime. I think the black background helps to bring your eye to these flowers and the saturated flowers. There are just a couple of detractors here. The bright reflections on the leaves, especially in the lower right and at the very bottom, do kind of pull our eye away. You might try cropping in some from the sides. You could clone out the offending leaves because the background is black. You could black them out, and that would focus us more on the flowers. This will be out.
Okay, number 26 is out.
26 out. 27.
A good portrait of this peony, where the everything is sharp and not blown out, and the color is appealing of the pink and the kind of yellow in the centers. There were a couple of technical things that detract from the image. You can't see it so much on this feed, but there's a white fringe along the bottom of the bottom petals there, which looks like a slider was moved too far to the right or to the left. So that can be fixed, remedied if you go back into Lightroom or Photoshop, and can move it so that the fringe disappears. Also, I think it's a little off center. As you can see, the center, if you will, of the flower is slightly to the right of center. And, that's okay. But I think it would be more pleasing to the eye if it was either definitely to the right of center or smack in the middle of the center. It's being just a little bit off, it makes you lean as opposed to understand where the center should be. So play with the cropping on this. Maybe crop it up a good deal from the bottom, which would also take care of the fringe thing, making it more of a square, and then the slight off center won't be quite as noticeable. This will be out.
Okay, number 27 then out.
27 is out, and that's the end. Let me pull out all those images and give you a number.
My count, John, it looks like there are 10 remaining. Is that?
I have 10 as well. Cynthia, do you have 10?
I do.
Excellent.
Okay.
Or is that enough for us? We needed what? First through fourth and
3 honorable mentions, I believe.
Okay. We need to get rid of 3, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Oops, hold on. Oops. So shall we start with the honorable mentions? Is that what you would like, or do you want me to take out the ones that are
Let's see.
not going to get in?
Let's take out the ones, if you don't mind.
Okay. So although I can't see all the numbers on the screen here, I have them written down. So we'll eliminate number 7.
Okay.
Can you give me the file name? Is that Sand Patterns?
Yes?
18 Sand Patterns?
No, it's 7 is
7.
Brooklyn Botanical Garden.
I don't have a Brooklyn, so I
Oh,
think.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the number you have here on the screen.
Yeah, give me the file name. Make it a little bit easier.
18 is out.
Okay.
19 is out.
18 out. And 19.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One moment. And 16 is out.
16 on the rocks.
So that should leave us with 7, yes? Is that what you get? That's what I got.
You got that,
Yes.
Ron? Perfect.
That sounds right.
Okay, so now we'll do the honorable mentions.
Yes.
Honorable mention number 23.
Okay.
Honorable mention number 14. Honorable mention number 10.
Okay.
And then 4th place,
Okay.
number 2. Third place, number 20. Second place, number 5. First place, number 17.
Okay. All right.
If you could read me honorable mentions, Ron, I'll bring them up as you read them.
So bear with me 1 second here. I need to get the.
Do you have the cheat sheet up?
I have to get the right cheat sheet, actually. So bear with me, please.
While Ron does that, I'll just mention everybody listening. Something that the contest team changed this year was kind of taking the photographer's initials away from the file name. So you will still send your files in with your initials, but taking them out of the file names that the judge sees, and that also what I see. They thought it was kind of an interesting thing, because my point was, what if you had to get rid of a couple images and maybe your initials, you had 3 images in there? The judge may think, oh well, that person won enough, maybe get rid of. They typically shouldn't, but they kind of thought about that. So that's something that is new for this year, but it does take a little bit more time to line up the names with the super secret cryptic spy ring that Bob gives us with the exports.
Okay.
Ready, Ron?
All right. Could you tap dance just a moment more?
Sure. And we got to give a shout out to Bob Weber. Bob Weber takes the images in and sends them through a super secret randomizer. And that way we try to get as many randomized images in here as possible, so that not everybody's in the first in line, and not everybody's at the end, and tries to separate them so no one's got 3 images in a row. And they've been doing a really good job. I've been kind of in the backfield when they've been doing a lot of these changes and proposals, and they've been doing a heck of a job this year.
Okay. Just take a few seconds more. I apologize for this. This is
Would you like me to go ahead and read just the honorable mentions, Ron?
honorable. Yeah, go ahead and do those.
Okay.
And I want to get too many pieces of paper here, guys. So my apologies.
No
I
problem.
appreciate what Lewis did last couple of years. Now that I'm into this, so
I'm going to go ahead and do the honorable mentions. If you can
Please.
look up fourth through first and finish them up, that'd be great. Here are your winners for the Novice Digital tonight. Image name is Osprey, and that is Tammy Gorsak. I believe that's how we pronounce your last name. Tammy is a new member. Welcome, Tammy, and congratulations on your win. Honorable mention to number 14, which is Fluffy Blue, Beth Bandy. Welcome, Beth. Welcome back. It's good to see your submitted images, and congratulations. Honorable mention to 23. It started here, and this is Doug Wood. We know Doug from a lot of wins last year. Good shot, Doug. Ron, are you ready or you want me to keep going?
I have them here.
All right.
Okay. Our fourth place image is Morning Glory. Okay, and that would be John Verdi. Our third place image, John's a new member, I believe.
Welcome, John. Good job.
Okay. Now our third place image is Light Show Whimsy, and that's Terry Jackson.
Beautiful image.
Okay, and number 2 is Underground Embrace, and that would be, bear with me, I got to get the number again, number 5. That would also be John Verdi. And I guess we're looking for number 1 too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have Fox is image number 1. And the artist doing that is Tammy Gorsak.
Good job, Tammy. Congratulations to all of our winners. And
Okay.
usually,
a lot of
go ahead.
this group, so John, this is good.
Now, usually what I do, Ron, I'll let you do this from now on. Usually I welcome people to post their winners in the Facebook group and give us the details on where you shot it, how you shot it, what you did in post. Now, typically when we get back to meeting in person, as we go through the winners, you'll stand up and you'll give us all that information, but it's a little bit harder in virtual. So please repost these images on the Facebook group and give us all those details on them. That way we can properly congratulate you and ask, and people can ask questions.
Okay. All right, John, are we ready to move on to Unlimiteds?
Yes, sir. Whenever you are, and whenever Cynthia is.
Okay. Cynthia, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do the first round on those. Number 1 is Just Looking. Number 2 is Spirit. Number 3 is Harmonica Player. Number 4 is Mom and Baby Raccoons. Number 5 is Reversed Colors. Number 6 is Message in a Bottle. Number 7 is Butterfly. Number 8 is Clearing the Bridge for the Blue Angels. Number 9 is Grazing in the Grass. Number 10, Soldier Reading. Number 11, tin roof rusted. Number 12 is Anne Arundel Community College. Number 13 is So Serious. Number 14 is Swallow. '15 is Three Lilies Sleeping. '16 is Butterfly and Yellow Flower. '17, Taking a Break. '18, Christina. '19 is Pink Imperfect. '20 is Peking Lotus. '21 is Peninsula. '22, Great Falls. '23, St. Anne's. '24 is One Legged. '25, The Badlands. '26, Maryland Inn. Number 27 is Shiprock Sunset. '28, Are There Ghosts? '29, Beth Shalom Detail. '30 is Columbia Orange and Blue. '31 is Red-Headed Woodpecker. '32 is Tiny Falls. '33 is CUN. '34, Acetique Stars. '35, Looking at You. '36 is Ash Dune Light. '37 is Daisy Decor. Number 38 is Tintype Christine. '39 is Art of Play. '40 is Ellicala Falls. '41 is Blackcap Chickadee. '42 is Ellicala Falls 2021. Number 43 is Hanging On. Number 44 is Flamboyant Roseate. I'm pronouncing that correctly. Number 45, Boom. 46, Down the Chute. 47, Catching Raindrops. And 48 is Orchid. Okay. John, we're back to the beginning, and Cynthia, I guess we're back to you.
All right, thank you. So this is the unlimited group, the more advanced group. So my comments will be less on these because there won't be as many things to point out, but also for time. But I usually like to take a lot of time with the novice because that's where perhaps they're looking for the most help. So again, another lovely black and white. Everything is sharp in the bird's face and his chest. We've got white whites, black blacks. The choice of f-stop, excellent here because we're holding enough detail in the bird and yet the background is blurred out. I like the photographer's choice of using black and white here because perhaps the background was more colorful, and that would have drawn us away from the white and gray bird. So I think this was well done. This will be in.
Okay, number 1 is in.
Confirm 1 in. Number 2.
And one that you should be sending to the marketing department at Spirit Airlines. A good juxtaposition of these two images. Notice how the photographer put the plane at an angle, pointing up, with the moon in the face of the moon very large versus the plane, and a very creative image. This will be out.
Okay, number 2 is out.
Confirm 2 out. Number 3.
A interesting portrait, a good attempt at this. I think the most attracting thing here is that the background is not level. And I know if you level that up, it's going to make the harmonica player look like he's leaning. But that's, you have to take these trade-offs, etc. I think a little faster shutter speed also could have stopped a little bit of the motion, and I wish he was looking at the photographer. This will be out.
Okay, number 3 is out.
3's out. Number 4.
A lovely mother and child here in this tree. In your post-processing, I would suggest to lighten up the subject matter, which are the two animals, which right now are a lot darker than the tree. So I think you want our eye to go to the animals so you can lighten them and darken the tree down. And you might even think about cropping off more on the left-hand side as we don't need to see the background there. You really want us to focus on the raccoons. In fact, you could crop it down to just the hole and the surrounding bark around that. This will be out.
Okay, number 4 is out.
4 is out. Number 5.
An interesting treatment with this, with the white background especially, which really makes the colors pop. Some people like avant-garde kind of art like this, and others hate it. I think it's a great use of creativity here. But because we have lots of control when we're doing things like this, I would suggest that the horizontal lines are drawing us out of the image because they go all the way to the edge. So you may want to clone that out. And also the one brown stem or stick at the bottom that is not connected to anything, that could disappear too. And that would really focus us on the subject. This will be out.
Okay, number 5 is out.
5 is out. Number 6.
A good thought of this message in the bottle in the ocean at sunset. Notice the horizon is placed high in the image, and that really emphasizes the foreground, the smoothness of the waves coming in. I wish that the bottle was in better light, and maybe in post-processing you could bring that out some more, but it's a good thought. This will be out.
Okay, number 6 is out.
6 out. Number 7.
A lovely butterfly on flowers. Notice the background for the most part, is dark and doesn't interfere with us looking at the butterfly and the flower. I think, the photographer could also play around with cropping this down to maybe just the pink flower it's sitting on and its antenna, and then maybe half of its wings, and just focus us in on this part of the his fore body. The rest of the flowers, etc., we don't necessarily need, and they tend to draw us away from the subject. This will be out.
Okay. Number 7 is out.
7's out. Number 8.
This is an excellent moment that the photographer has captured here. Notice that you can clearly see the 4 different motorcyclists, their faces, they're coming towards you, as opposed to if they were one shielding another, for example, but here they're separated enough that you can see all of them. The tonalities in this is very well done, the darks and the lights. You may want to go in and lighten their faces just a little bit, especially the one on the right-hand side in the back, so that we could see their faces just a little more clearly. And you can't really see it here because the words are in the upper left, but there's some distracting fence or something up there. You could easily clone that out or darken it down so that we don't pay attention to that. This will be out.
Okay. Number 8 is out.
Number 8 is out. Number 9.
A good close-up of this animal. Notice everything is tack sharp, the grass, the horns, etc. The only detractor to this image is that you can't see his eye. He's looking down, obviously, at the grasses, but it would be better if we could see his eye. This will be out.
Okay. Number 9 is out.
9 out. Number 10.
An interesting scene with this gentleman on the porch. He's got his gun propped up there on the side, and we have the flag. I think there's, however, from a compositional standpoint, maybe we've got too much grass and too much of the roof, so that these things pull us away from the gentleman. And again, here's another instance where I hope you took a few steps to the right, so that we would have less space between him and the flag and the gun, so that they were perhaps more in line with one another and that way related. But this way they're very separated. This will be out.
Okay. Number 10 is out.
10's out. Number 11.
A good view of this barn in pleasant light on the barn. The sky wasn't really your friend that day. Good for you for cropping out most of it. I hope, again, here's another one where you bracketed your compositions. It looks like there's a lot of interesting wood and rust on this barn, that you came in a little closer or zoomed in and took some more close-ups of the texture of the barn, which is really the intriguing part here, as opposed to the trees. The rocks are nice, the grass is nice, but the barn is what I'm sure drew you to this particular place. This will be out.
Okay. Number 11 is out.
Number 11's out. Number 12.
Another one of those abstracts that makes you think, makes you want to walk up to it and look at it a little closer, not only because of the colors, but of the pattern of the windows or framing around the architecture of this. And also notice how the photographer put these 2 raised portions at odd places in the frame, which gives it a sense of unbalance, and again makes you want to come up and look at it. So the colors, the exposure, everything very well done. This will be in.
Okay. Number 12 is in.
12's in. Number 13.
An intense look on this child's face. The beauty of this is the roundness of the cheeks and the chin and the forehead, etc. Unfortunately, I wish it was just a little sharper. It's a little soft. Even the clothing is a little soft. This would have been wonderful if it had been just a little sharper. This will be out.
Okay. Number 13 is out.
13's out. Number 14.
A lovely portrait of this bird. The background It could have been better, but it's okay. I wish there was a little more light on the bird, and I think some of that could be solved in post-processing. A little more light on its head and perhaps the front of its wings there, so that we could see some more details in its feathers would be great. This will be out.
Okay, number 14 is out.
14's out. Number 15.
Another interesting treatment with black and white on these water lilies, which if you've shot them, you know they can be highly reflective in different colors, etc. So an interesting way to treat it in very dark hues here. I think a few things here. I think the vignetting in the corners may be a little heavy. You may want to try going back and leaving the vignetting off to see if you get this repetition of pattern of grays and blacks in the leaves all the way to the edges, and or then crop it in to where you do have that contrast between the different shades more towards the middle of the image, which would really bring out the texture a bit more. This will be out.
Okay, number 15 is out.
15 out. 16.
A good thought by the photographer. So we have the bug, moth, butterfly in the front here on the flower, and then the idea that this was a field of flowers that stretched to infinity behind it. That's a good thought. I think it's difficult to pull it off. Kudos to the photographer for getting the butterfly sharp in the foreground. Good choice. You could probably even have shot it even a little bit more wide open to really blur out those background flowers. Again, it's a good thought, but because they're so bright, it pulls our eye back away from the butterfly more than perhaps you had intended. This will be out.
Okay, number 16 out.
16's out. 17.
A good capture of this dragonfly. Notice the face, the head, very intriguing. When we look at these things close up, we think they're out of this world. But a good capture here. Notice the background is not interfering at all. In a perfect world, he would have been sitting on something, a leaf or a flower or something that looks a little less man-made than what he is sitting on. But it was a good capture. This will be out.
Okay, number 17 is out.
17's out. 18.
A fun pose of this lady, obviously waiting for a train or a bus, sitting on her baggage. I think the light on her face and her hands and body is very good. The red gloves are just a little saturated. That can be easily fixed in Lightroom and with the HSL slider. As you know, in digital, for some reason, reds always seem to be a little overexposed, even when we don't think they are, but that can be fixed again in post-processing. I would say that the foreground, though, the bottom should be cropped up to just below her feet. You may be trying to show the rails in the train, etc., but I think it detracts from her. The picture is really her waiting, and I think you could crop it up just to where the gray area starts. This will be out.
Okay, number 18 is out.
18's out. 19.
Certainly a perfect specimen of this lotus. And I think that the light on it is what really makes it very attractive. You have different shades of pink going on. You have the interior of the flower, the yellow-orange part, really a glow. That's lovely. I think the background here is detracting from this beauty. You can darken it, you could blur it, but do something perhaps to take some of the definition out of the background so that we focus on the flower. This will be out.
19 is out.
19's out. 20.
This is a very moody picture of the flowers, but notice the detail and the texture in the leaves and in the bud itself, and the positioning of the leaf and bud diagonally in the image is very well done from a compositional standpoint. I think something needs to be done to the background. The There's a vertical line, a dark line, and then you've got the brighter line going to the upper right-hand corner, and they could be toned down, cloned out, something that would not detract from the beauty that we have here in the foreground. This will be out.
Okay, number 20 is out.
20 is out. 21.
So we talked about being creative and looking at common things from an uncommon vantage point. That's certainly this, looking down on the beach from straight above. The red umbrella and other red items there really draw your eye. Notice where the photographer put them. They're not dead center in the image. In fact, it's the edge of the wave that's centered, and it goes from top to bottom, not left to right. But your eye comes back to the umbrella in that area. It's just an excellent composition and technically very well done as well. This will be in.
Okay, number 21 is in.
21's in. 22.
So some people like their water to show the individual droplets, and others like a slow shutter speed so that you see the silkiness of it, which is what we have here. And that's everyone's different taste. And my only suggestion would be every time you see an instance to take an image like this, bracket your shutter speeds and see which one you like. This works very well with the silkiness of the water, a lot of contrast between that and the rocks. I think, however, in this case, the rocks are just a little dark, and that you could bring them up just a little bit in tonality. It wouldn't compete with the water, which has lovely light on it. But I think the rocks could be just a little brighter. This will be out.
Okay, number 22 out.
22's out. 23.
An interesting night shot. Notice how the photographer has cropped this very tightly into a narrow vertical, so that all we concentrate on is the spire of this building. The lights giving it that yellow glow, but with enough detail there that you can, read the clock. You can see the detail in the bricks or in the stone. So it's a very good capture. This will be out.
Okay, number 23 is out.
23 out. 24.
This is one of those decisive moments. And as we saw in an earlier image, not something you're used to seeing, kind of from the bottom up, as this eagle gets ready to have some lunch himself. But notice the shutter speed that the photographer used, because we have the water droplets frozen in air, which gives a feeling of movement to the image. Notice the intensity of the look on the eagle's face in his eye, which is all very sharp, and the mouth being open gives that impending lunch image. So this will be in.
And number 24 is in.
24's in. 25.
An interesting treatment on this image of trying to make the rocks look more painterly, and the sky as well. I think it could be a little more contrasty, perhaps, and you can play with that in your post-processing and see if that adds to or detracts from the painterly kind of feel to it. But it's an interesting way to treat this subject. This will be out.
Okay, number 25 is out.
25 out. Number 26.
A street scene that, I told you the rules are always meant to be broken. Here we've got the words on the building, but it gives the sense of place. It tells you where it is, what we're looking at. But you've got the motion of the cars and the people blurred out. The flag, however, is not. And the light on the building and on the sky is very well captured. If anything, we probably don't need as much of the road on the right-hand side because of the yellow lines on the street, but it's hard to say where you could crop it or change it that would reduce some of that, unless you came up on the side, on the brick sidewalk on the left some, but not to eliminate the yellow fire hydrant, which is a nice touch. This will be in.
Number 26 is in.
26 in. Number 27.
Also an interesting view. So this is not what you would expect to be seeing in the middle of the desert, of this water trough, I assume is what it is on the right here. But notice the time of day, the beautiful sky, the sunset, etc. You've also got the light being reflected on the side of the uh, whatever they call the water tank there on the right. But notice how sharp it is. You can see every pebble in the dirt here in the front, and going towards the back. Notice the light on the ground as we go back towards. It's interesting, gives some texture and undulation to the topography. It's just very well seen. This will be in.
Number 27 is in.
27's in. 28.
This is an interesting thought, and I know from the title that we're trying to look eerie, and it certainly does. I think the treatment of it adds to that somewhat. I think unfortunately, there's too much of the building that's blocked up. That's just too dark, but you can fix that in post-processing. Just lightening up that area just a little bit will probably help the image. This will be out.
Okay, number 28 is out.
28's out. 29.
An interesting look at, or different angle, looking at this structure. The thing that makes this image are the colors, the complementary colors in the color of the building and the sky, and then the very sharp angles of the sculpture and the shadows. So, it's an interesting look at it. It makes you wonder what it is. Notice the way it's been cropped, so it's very horizontal. I think that adds to the intrigue. This will be in.
Okay, number 29 is in.
29 in. Number 30.
Another interesting architectural image. The colors are what make it, and then the angles, and makes you, again, want to walk up to it and say, what in the world is going on here? The only thing I would say is how do I describe? On the right hand third of the image, the lines are not exactly perpendicular, straight up and down, vertical, or whatever. Again, that can be altered in Lightroom or Photoshop to tighten that up just a little bit, straighten those up, and I think that would add to the image. This will be out.
Okay, number 30 is out.
30's out. 31.
A nice portrait of this woodpecker on the branch. I think lots of space around the woodpecker, which is fine. Unfortunately, the light was not your friend here because his head and eye are dark. It's hard to see much texture in there. You can try in post-processing, helping that out some so that we can see more of him, and maybe darkening some of the background just a little bit to help him stand out. But right now we're kind of at a loss to see him. This will be out.
Okay, 31 is out.
31's out. 32.
Another very tight crop. And here we've got the silky water, not quite as slow as shutter speed as what we were looking at before. We see a little more detail in the water. I think the one thing that stands out is a bit of glare, if you will, on the surrounding rocks. Perhaps a polarizer on the camera at the time it was shot would have helped with that. And again, here, I think, so now you're betwixt and between. If you brighten up the rocks too much, the light areas are going to be too bright. If you darken the light areas, then you have no detail in the rocks at all. So a difficult thing to solve. This will be out.
Okay, number 32 is out.
32's out. 33.
We don't miss them yet, do we? But this is a perfect capture of them. If you want to know what a cicada looked like, this is it. Notice the angle in the frame, the upward movement of the branch and of the bug. You can see his red eyes, all of his many legs and his wings, and the background is complementary and not distracting. It's a good capture of someone we don't miss. This will be in.
Number 33 is in.
33 in. 34.
Kudos to the photographer of finding, obviously, where the Milky Way was going to be that night and a structure to put in the image as well. I think the main detractor here is the brightness on the left-hand side of the building. That just pulls your eye totally away from the Milky Way, which is a shame because they went to a lot of trouble to get it at the right time. But that brightness over there, it really detracts. This will be out.
Number 34 is out.
34 is out. 35.
A very intriguing close-up. So you don't really know what kind of creature it is, but notice all of the detail around the eye. You can see all of the scales and everything, and all the detail in the eyeball itself. And then assuming it's in water, which is why the right-hand side is a little less sharp, but it definitely is a powerful image. Notice the eye is not right smack in the middle of the image. The photographer moved it to the left or cropped it that way, which was a good compositional choice. This will be in.
Okay, number 35 is in.
35's in. 36.
A good time of day. Notice the light is warm on these hills. You can see that in the grasses, etc., in the front as well. The shadows, there is some detail in the shadows there. I think from compositionally, however, it's just lacking a little structure. And so again, I'm sure this is a big place that you walked around here some and were able to take multiple images in this location, because I think there's lots of interesting texture going on in the hills that you could zoom in on or change the angle of how the hills work in the frame. But this will be out.
Okay, number 36 is out.
36 is out. 37.
The most striking thing, and there are many about this image, is the symmetry. Notice the symmetry of where it's placed in the frame, of the petals as they extend to the corners of the image. But it's not repetitious, because we have the different little petals at the bottom of the center of the image. Kudos to the photographer for choosing to do this in black and white. Notice we have a broad tonal range, although it's mostly white. In the white band, we have blacks and we have grays within this image. And the whites are not blown out. There is texture in each of those petals. It's and notice the shape of the image itself, more square. It's very well done. This will be in.
Okay. Number 37 is in.
37's in. 38.
So an interesting technique to give a old-time feel to this image, and from her dress and the way her hair is done to the toning of the image. So well done by the photographer to try and make this as an old-timey, if you will, image. Part of that is low contrast to make it look like it started to fade away as a tintype. But I think just a little more contrast on her face, or less of the texture. And you can, if you did this in a layer, for example, in Photoshop, just taking a light mask over her face to mask out a little bit of the technique on her face. Because, when we look at a picture of a human being, we're looking at the eyes and the face. And I think having that just a little bit sharper with less of the treatment would really make it stand out more. This will be out.
Okay, number 38 is out.
38's out. 39.
A very creative shot. Kudos to the photographer for seeing this, and notice the way that it is cropped and framed is you're looking into this box and you don't see anything else. And notice the texture of the mallets and the balls, obviously been well used over the years. Notice how the upper set of mallets are angled to one another, whereas the lower ones are flush. It's well composed and well shot and good color. This will be in.
Okay, number 39 is in.
39's in. Number 40.
I think there are multiple images in this image. And, I think doing it in black and white always brings out texture and line and things that perhaps the color image would not have. But I think here there are too many of those wonderful elements competing with one another. So you have the circular movement of the water in the foreground with the sharp rock there in the lower left versus the texture of the rocks in the upper right versus the wonderful waterfall versus the bridge. They're just too much going on. The eye doesn't really know what you wanted us to look at in particular. So hopefully when you were at the falls, you shot lots of different things there and bracketed your composition. This will be out.
Okay, number 40 is out.
40 is out. 41.
This lovely bird, the thing that really makes this image is the arc of the wings. Notice that his head, face are sharp. We've got a little catch light in the eye. You see motion in his foot and the arch of the wings. The background is blurred out, so it's not competing with him at all. I wish the shutter speed had been just a hair faster so we would see just a little more detail in his wings, but of course, shoulda, woulda, coulda, you can't have everything. It was a very good capture. This will be out, in.
In.
41
Right,
in.
41 is in.
42.
So here we have falls with the color. And the colors are complementary to one another. The flow of the stream to the lower left corner is very pleasing. Notice the shutter speed, very slow, so that the water is very silky down here in the lower left. And you also get the silkiness in the upper part of the falls in the background there. I think, again, here's another thing where you might, hopefully, without getting wet, could have stepped a little to the left so we don't get as much of the rock on the right that we see here. Or you might, with this image, consider cropping up from the bottom just a little bit. You'll still get the stream going to the lower left, but if you take out the front part of the rock on the right, I think you might find it's a little more pleasing in that it draws your eye to the back where the taller waterfall is. This will be out.
Okay, number 42 is out.
42's out. 43.
Another look at these wonderful creatures. Again, the head is tack sharp, and the body, here it is perched on a leaf. Notice the background blurred out is complementary, no problems there. The wings, you get the impression of movement there. So this was well seen and well executed. This will be in.
Okay, number 43 is in.
43's in. Number 44.
A lovely portrait. These birds are hard to shoot. They rarely stand still for a second, but the excellent choice of the angle here, we're looking up at the bird. You don't usually see or look at these birds from that angle. He's doing something interesting with his feathers. You have a clear view of his eye. It's all very sharp. The deep blue behind him is complementary to the pink in his feathers, and everything is well exposed. This will be in.
Okay, number 44 is in.
44 is in. Number 45.
talk about capturing a moment, right? This is definitely the moment. And, a great shot with the fire coming out of the cannon, the puff of smoke from the rear of the cannon, and the uh, actions of the two soldiers, also very good. I think, it's hard to say what could be improved here with the firing itself. It's a good moment. The one thing that pulls my eye a little bit away is the box sitting on the wall on the left. But otherwise, it was a good capture of the moment. This will be in.
Okay, number 45 is in.
45's in. 46.
Also a good action shot. Notice you can see the kayaker's face. They're obviously struggling with this water. They're at an interesting angle in the frame. Notice again, here is the opposite. We've got a lot of action in the water because it's been stopped in motion. So a very fast shutter speed, which allows the kayaker to be sharp and the spray from the water also to be captured. This will be in.
Okay, number 46 is in.
46 is in. Number 47.
Lovely bird. You never realize how long their tongue is until you see them actually trying to drink from a flower or something. So a good capture, an interesting capture by the photographer. I think his face, unfortunately, is just a little soft. I like the composition with the leaves and the branch that he's sitting on. You might want to tone down the leaf that's above him because it is a little brighter than the rest and with him. And also the streaks in the upper left, which may be rain or something else falling. I think you could probably clone those out or do content aware and make them go away. I don't think we need them. This will be out.
Okay, number 47 is out.
47 is out. And number 48.
This is a lovely flower. Unfortunately, it's hard to find a lot that's sharp in this, but there are lots of interesting patterns in these flowers all over and worthy of exploring. If you have a good macro lens and or a camera that does focus peaking, or you can do a focus stacking, all sorts of advanced techniques these days to bring various parts of the image into focus or the whole image, the whole flower, despite its being very deep here. So I would encourage you to keep trying with the orchids. This will be out.
Okay, number 48 is out.
Number 48's out, and that should be it. Let me find out how many images we have left. Let's see. It looks like 16 images remaining. Do you guys agree?
I agree.
Yes.
Okay.
So we need first through fourth, and how many honorables?
5.
Okay. All right. Shall we start with the ones that will be out? Is that what you would like?
That sounds good.
Number 26 is out.
Let me find it. Hold on a sec. 26 Maryland Inn is out.
Number 27 is out.
Okay.
27 Shiprock Sunset is out.
Number 29 is out.
Okay.
29 Beth Shalom Detail is out.
Number 41 is out.
Okay.
41 Black Cap Chickadee out.
Number 43 is out.
43 Hanging On is out.
Number 45 is out.
Number 45 Boom is out.
And number 46 is out.
Number 46 Down the Chute is out. I now have 9 images.
Okay.
Ron, do you have 9?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Cynthia, if you'd like to go ahead and start placing.
Okay, honorable mention number 1. Honorable mention number 24.
Okay.
Honorable mention number 33.
Okay.
Honorable mention number 34. I'm sorry, 39. Pardon me. 39.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention number 44.
Okay.
Fourth place, number 35. Third place, number 21. Second place, number 12. And first place, number 37.
Okay. All right. John, if you have your harmonica, entertain us for a bit. No, I should be able to do this a little bit easier than before.
If not, I have them up as well.
Okay.
Just go ahead and read me the number and for the honorable mentions, and I'll bring them up as you have them.
Okay. First honorable mention is number 1, Just Looking, and I have that as Louis Sapienza. Second honorable mention is number 24, One Legged, and I have that as Richard Stolarski.
I think that is Fred Venezia. Double check that one more time.
Let me read all the way across there. Yes, you are correct.
That's a Fred image. I can see it.
The Fred, yeah. Okay, number 33. And that would be Tiny Falls, and that's Jackie Colstock.
One more down. I think I saw your printout and everything was kind of garbled. It should be See You in 2038.
Okay, hang on 1 second. $33. I have number. You say that's 34?
This is 33. See You in 2038.
Okay, my list has Tiny Falls, Jackie Colstock.
Okay,
So,
go to the next one down where it says See You in 2038 and see if you can get it from that one.
Okay, my apologies. That's J.C. Williams.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
That's J.C. Williams.
Yeah. I don't have the images up in front of me, so I'm trying to look at a spreadsheet versus
No problem.
something else.
We'll get better. We'll get better as we go down.
Yeah, well, maybe you will. We'll see. Honorable mention number 44. Does that match your numbers?
Let's see. Yes, 44.
Okay, Flamboyant Roseate. And that would be JC.
Mm-hmm.
JC, what? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now from there, we're looking at fourth place. So that would be.
No.
We missed one, but I'm not going to take it personally, Ron. Number 39.
Oh, not again.
Number 39, Art of Play, is your last honorable mention.
Yes. Art of Play, 39. Let's see. I think I know that guy. Oh, yeah, that's John Milliker's Art of Play.
I won't take it personally.
John. Okay.
You better not miss that one, yeah.
Okay, how about fourth place?
Okay, fourth place. Yeah, we can do that. Let's see. That would be number 35. Looking at you, according to my records here. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Number 35. Okay, and let's see who that was again. That might be J.C. Williams.
No, I have Louis Sapienza on that one.
I'm sorry, you said number 35?
35, Looking at You.
All right, hang on 1 second. Yeah. Okay.
Did you find it okay?
Well, no, my number, the spreadsheet here isn't matching up on that, but I will take you Looking at
Yeah.
you, I found it now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Lewis. Yes.
Good.
Lewis. Yes.
Good job, Lewis.
Right. Yep.
Number
We got
21, Peninsula is your third place.
that looks right. That's third. Boy, these are tiny little letters here. That looks like that might be John Milliker.
Mhm.
Okay.
Second
And
place
we need
is
a sec.
12 Anne Arundel Community College.
Okay. I think I know that one. Let's see.
You should know exactly whose that shot that has
I
to
know
be.
exactly who that is. Yeah. That would be David Joyner. And first is Daisy Decor, number 37. Another J.C. Williams.
Is that 3? Did JC just get a tricolor ribbon on the first contest of the year?
That sounds like it. Yeah.
Wow! Congratulations, JC.
Congrats.
Congratulations, everybody, for the fantastic images and the winners. Ron, do you want to give them the spiel to all the winners to post them on Facebook and give us all the info?
I'll just reinforce what you said. Yeah, that's something that really helps us all to kind of get a look at. It's one thing to look at it tonight, but take a look at it and spread the joy a little bit. We all like to see what these good jobs, these good photos look like. Some excellent stuff tonight. Okay, now Cynthia, I want to thank you for being our judge tonight. You did an outstanding job. Some really clear and interesting insights. I know I got a lot of insights on my images that were really helpful, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you again for having me. They were wonderful images. Really difficult to narrow it down. Any number of them could have been first or second, third honorable mention. There were plenty of wonderful images to choose from.
Okay.
Cynthia, do we have some time that if anybody has any questions, they might be able to, you may have a couple of minutes that might be able to answer some questions?
Sure.
Okay. And while we give a kind of a first and last call for questions, Ron, Debbie also over on the Facebook chat, she was asking what it takes to be, if she's now a member of the Anne Arundel County community, the Arundel the Arundel Camera Club. I'm going too fast by myself. But she's asking, what does she need to do to become a part of the MPA as well and to get involved in all that stuff?
Well, the MPA, if you're a member of the Arundel Camera Club, you are automatically part of MPA. So just at this point, there'll be some committee activities actually starting up. We're looking for some volunteers for a couple of new initiatives. So I will spread the word on that as those opportunities come up. And we will have some Odyssey of Light we do annually. Everybody has an opportunity to participate in that at a discount. And by the way, the more folks from our club participate in MPA activities, we get some money back. Arundel Camera Club was able to get $68 back from the Odyssey of Light participation this past year. So keep that in mind. Anytime we have an MPA activity, that the club happens to get some more, and we certainly can use that. But yeah, lots of opportunities all year long. Just keep looking for your email and join the Arundel Camera Club Facebook group and the MPA Facebook group.
And I don't see any questions. I think we're good. I think we can close this one up, Ron.
Okay. Well, let me also give a shout out to Bob Weber here. He did an outstanding job of trying to organize the numbers and the pictures and get all of them coordinated. And I did an outstanding job of messing all that up.
Oh, no.
Because this is my first time through this. Hopefully we'll start winging through it and a little bit more efficient in the future.
Yeah, I think it went well.
Really like the job that Cynthia did. And John, you kept us moving right through. So great. Keep in mind, in 2 weeks, Greg Holden will be our critique leader for the critique session. And I think we have everybody signed up for that at this point. So I'll be getting out to the 6 photographers who will be a part of that. And the rest of you will be able to view it possibly on Facebook Live if we can get that going. If not, on YouTube a little bit later, within a couple of days after that. So we're looking forward to that. And that's all I have for the evening.
Yeah, and great job, Cynthia, Ron, Bob. Lewis left some big shoes to fill, but
did.
just like when Lewis took over the position, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get that rhythm, and then you guys just do an amazing job. So I think it went well. Ron and Cynthia, go ahead and stick around, and I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting night. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.